What's up, guys? I'm Eric Hines.
And I'm Chris Otto.
And this is According to Men. Welcome back. We are now on episode 65. So if you guys listen to 64, that was an audio only due to some video technical difficulties. I ran out of storage on my phone.
It happens.
And believe it or not, yes, with this good quality, it's all recorded on my iPhone until we grow the show enough to where you guys are either donating money or we're getting some sort of funds in where we can afford a couple different camera setup. If you guys watched episode 63, you saw what is possible with our boy Nate hooking us up with amazing lighting and video. But
that was a great episode too, by the way. If you haven't had a chance to watch that, make sure that you go and watch that episode.
Yeah, 100%. That was probably one of my favorite ones just because it was just super off the cuff, like most of our episodes are. I mean, sometimes we have a topic in mind, but I know we were chopping it up before we hit record today, and you said that you were no longer on social media right now.
Man.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm working to, the more I progress in life, the more I try to simplify my life. Because I truly believe, man, that a simplified life is a fulfilling life. Like the less clutter that you have, the less distractions. And, social media was definitely one of them. I think, social media was good for, it had its purpose for a period of time, but I think it ran its course, to be honest with you. And the more that I look into like social media and where it's going, like everybody just wants to be entertained now. It's like, man, everybody's playing a freaking, now I can't say everybody, but the majority of people, they're just influencers, for example, playing a character, man. You got the loud, arrogant guy, you got the narcissist, you got the controversial guy, you got the conspiracy theory guy. Everybody's playing this daggone character, and I refuse to play a character.
Yeah.
I don't want to get on there and start being something that I'm not, just for the sake of likes, views, and all of that. And that's where I see, and I could be wrong, but that's just the way that I see it. That's my perspective on social media and where it's going.
I agree wholeheartedly with that perspective. And as you're describing why you've detached and kind of how you felt while you were on the platform and where you think it's going, it's almost like when we first identified things like alcohol, porn as vices in our life, I think it truly is for us, and maybe not every individual, but I think it is a vice if you really look at it and you call a spade a spade. Now, and actually much like a vice, right? Much like porn, much like alcohol, there were certain things where we saw a benefit out of it and we would justify the continued usage of it, right? You always hear me say, oh, well, if I didn't have a business, I wouldn't have a social media, right? Like I need to promote my business. That's just an excuse. It's just a narrative that we continue to rehearse and tell ourselves to justify why we're doing something. It's no different than any other thing that's holding us back. And even if you don't think it's holding you back, it's kind of like one of the challenges that we left the guys with in Iron Mind Tribe one week is identify something that you are a slave to, that you can't say no to, regardless of whether it's good for you or not, and check yourself and see if you can do without it. And honestly, it's a great exercise because a lot of guys will default to willpower. But at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, is this serving my higher purpose as a man?
Exactly. And I had to get really clear on that, man. And there was probably a week period, a 1 week period where it was just the idea of even getting on social media was causing me this anxiety. Like I was thinking to myself, oh, I need to post something today. Oh, what am I going to post? Like the ideas just weren't flowing. It just wasn't coming to me. And it was just creating this immense amount of anxiety. And I was like, why am I doing this to myself?
Yeah.
Just for what? What am I seeking here? Am I seeking like some sort of validation? Do I feel like I need to be on here to validate myself in some capacity? Am I seeking some sort of attention? And then once it boiled down to the root reason, that's really what it was. It's like I'm just looking for some sort of feedback from somebody else, or maybe a like, or maybe a comment, and I'm like, I got disgusted with myself. I said, that's not me, man.
Mm.
Like I don't want to be that person. And then, when you look at it, like, you watch people in public, man. Watch how many people just walk around with their face in their phone, and what are they doing? They're on TikTok, they're on Instagram, they're scrolling. I see people driving in their car, dude,
Mm.
watching TikTok stories while they're driving. Like, it's getting bad.
Yeah. Yeah, one of my gym members and employees got in a really bad four car pile up over this past weekend. They were so a car at 55 miles per hour, because they were distracted driving, looking at their phone, went full force, no brakes, 55 into a car, rear-ended them.
Wow.
That car went into another one, and then the third car went and hit them.
Yeah.
But it was enough impact that even in the fourth car, they had injuries and all that stuff. So, like, luckily nobody died. But
55 miles per hour, no brakes. Like,
dude, that's a bullet.
If you survive that, you're lucky.
Yeah,
you've got a good,
blessed.
safe car. But they're probably going to be experiencing some sort of issue later on down the road, some back issue or neck issue. That's crazy, man.
Yeah, and it's selfish too. Like,
100%.
we operate under the world revolving around us, and we don't think about the implications and the repercussions of any of the things that we do, much less, being absorbed in our phones. And, it's funny you brought up that how many people are really truly just walking around zombies, like engaged only in their phones and not the outside world. Even while walking outdoors in beautiful weather, they're absorbed. I was listening to, we talked about this before. I mainly only listen to like praise and worship music now, unless it's like 60s, 70s, or 80s, like classic rock or classic hits. And I was listening to Lion Eyes by Eagles.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the first opening lyrics by Don Henley is, he's talking about, I can't remember verbatim right now because I'm not singing the song in my head, but he says how this beautiful girl can open doors with just a smile, right? And when I was in DC 2 weeks ago with Kate, we were staying in a hotel in the city, and we were doing a bunch of city activities and tourist like stuff. And I just look around and I said, hey babe, you know what? I don't see literally a single person with a smile on their face. Everybody in here just looks miserable. and I kind of laughed when I was listening to that song. I was like, man, Don, if only you knew, well, he's still alive, but it's like, if only you knew in writing that song that today that wouldn't even apply.
Yeah.
Because now women don't smile, they don't say thank you when you open the door, and they expect you to open the door for them. Yeah. But then, you're a misogynist and a piece of crap if you say anything otherwise, right? And I know that's a very cynical, and that's not everyone, right? It's not every single woman, right? Just like you said, like not every single person on social media operates in a facade. Mm-hmm. But there definitely is this heavy majority that is causing this perception shift. Mm-hmm. And when you look at how we used to operate, God, even just when we were younger kids, man, I don't know what the root cause of it all is, but it's definitely interesting to talk about and to kind of lament on.
Yeah, it is, and it's one of those things, man, that when it grabs a hold of you, and I think that's by design too. When it grabs a hold of you, I said something earlier to you today. Like, I don't believe in atheists. Everybody has their God, right? It's just, do you know who your God is,
right,
or what your God is, right? If you're consumed by anything, if you're consumed by social media, consumed by drugs, consumed by alcohol, consumed by pornography, that's your God, Because think about it, man. You're willing to defend that God to the death, right?
Yeah.
That you will defend and make excuses for yourself on why you continuously, it's just like a Bible thumping Christian.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're going to defend their religion to the death,
Mm-hmm.
right? And they're going to make you wrong for not believing.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with somebody who's addicted to social media, somebody who's addicted to pornography, addicted to alcohol, addicted to drugs, or whatever else there is. Food. Somebody who's addicted to food, right? You don't know my struggle, right? You don't know what I've been through in my life. Who are you to judge? You know, and this isn't placing judgment. I don't particularly like that mentality of looking at somebody and judging that person, because I don't know.
To that.
Yeah, I don't know what you've been through in your life.
Sure.
It'd be ridiculous for me to pass judgment on you for where you are in your life. But at some point, you do have to take accountability for where you are. Like, I mean, I can definitely look at somebody and I can say, yeah, that person is overweight. They should probably do something about that for health reasons and whatnot.
Yeah.
But that's up to them to be able to do that. It's not for me to judge them for why they are like that.
For sure. Well, and the point that you bring up that stands here is we do not have to understand your struggle.
And that's okay.
In order to help you.
Yeah.
Right? Or in order for you to help yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I don't need to physically, Eric, as a personal trainer, a health coach, whatever, I don't have to put myself in the client's shoes and get morbidly obese and lose it all with them in order to help them get out of that situation.
Yeah.
Or vice versa, right? You know, and I think that's such a popular belief system that victims subscribe to, because they haven't really truly identified that that's an idol to them, that that's their God.
Yeah.
Right? That eating unhealthy and doing so in excess and not having any repercussions for those actions other than you get more depressed, you get more fat, you get more lazy. You know, I caught myself, and I continue to catch myself, because one of the idols that the enemy keeps continually creeping into my forefront of my vision and everything I do is money.
Mm-hmm.
As a business owner, it's hard to ignore that, because it's kind of a necessary piece to the puzzle to continue thriving and growing, and allowing people to have access and means to the beautiful thing that you built. And so I struggle with this a lot, and I often pray and read scripture pertaining to this so that I can understand not only God's viewpoint on money, like He wants us to prosper, He wants us to take the 10 talents and turn it into 20. He doesn't want us to bury that 1 talent in the ground and hold safe to it because we didn't want to lose it, or we didn't know what to do with it, and we honored it. You know, He says, no, you didn't do what I commanded, basically. But at the same time, I want to make sure that it doesn't have control and power over how I control my life, how my actions move forward. And it's a really tough dichotomy, man, because when I really boil down like my current state of being, the only thing that causes me stress and anxiety is the financials.
Right.
Everything in my life is beautiful, it's blissful, it's blessed. I don't have any other reservations towards anything. So I have to continue to challenge my own self, and am I thinking like a victim because I'm focusing too hard on this? When in reality, it's like, if God wanted me to, you know, the gym to go bankrupt, or for me to fail at whatever my next venture is, then He would, and let it be done. And it's not for me to do anything about, because it's not in my control.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And I think when people grasp that, then there's this peace, this overwhelming peace of just kind of like you talked about before, that letting go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if you're doing everything, at the end of the day, you got to eat. At the end of the day,
sure.
you got to provide for your family.
Survive.
You got to take care of your bills,
Yep.
because, you know, we got to have a roof over our head. We got to be able to throw some clothes on our back. We got to be able to eat every single day. And it's the things that you can control. See, you can't control the income, whether you're going to get a client. there's certain things that you can control within that, right?
Sure.
Can you control if that client is going to buy from you? Can you control if that client is going to come up with an objection? The only thing you can control is the work that you put in
Correct.
to get the people to walk through the door,
Yep.
to overcome the objections that you know that you're going to get. It's the work to get the people in front of you. Now, you can't control what the person's going to do, what the person's going to say, but if you know you're doing everything that you can in that aspect, then letting go of the wanting to control the outcome is basically what it is. You're just letting go of the control.
That's exactly what it is.
For the outcome. And, and not making, and just like I just said, man, about what is your God, like not making money your God. A lot of people, they make the financials, that's their God, because that's all they, and then the things that they want to purchase. And that's why
that's hit the nail on the head, bro.
Yeah. And that's why I've just been working to simplify my life as much as possible, because it's so much more. Life is so much more robust when you live a simple life, because you don't have things to worry about that, if you were constantly making purchases, constantly having money going out to things, and constantly having to worry about if I can afford this, or just this clutter, like it feels like this weight is on your shoulders. Like I don't want, some people may enjoy that. Some people may like the busyness of that clutter and all that. Me personally, I don't particularly care for that. I want it as simple as I can possibly have it, so I can enjoy my life, enjoy things with Pamela, go on vacations. Like I got a vacation coming up here on Sunday that I'm massively looking forward to.
I'm excited for you, man.
I can't wait for it, man. But well, I can wait for it, but me and Pamela, we came to this agreement a while back, because we used to say, I can't wait to, when we weren't living together, I can't wait to see you again. And then we correct ourselves, because why are we saying we can't wait? Yeah, we can wait. Have some patience.
Yeah, it's a weird saying.
Yeah, it is.
It's a good one to catch.
Like I can wait.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely.
But you're excited.
Yeah, excited about it.
For sure.
I'm kind of like in that, when you've got something planned and you're about to go do something that you've been looking forward to for a while, you kind of get in that vacation type mode. Yeah, I've been in that for a couple of days.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that, man. And you struck a chord when you talk about that materialism and really the mindset shift in me. And I know this sounds super simple, and it's like, duh, Eric, like, why didn't you think of this a long time before? But I'm going back to it, because I did adopt this mindset. And then when we have life changes, like different chapters of our life, we move, we enter new relationships, all these things happen. It shifts our standards sometimes. We got to get back to the drawing board, or else we get complacent. And for me, it's only spending money on experiences and food.
Yeah.
And everything else is a nice to have, and it's not required. And I need to set that standard and that precedence, because Kate and I, we took the entire weekend and we cleaned out our closets. I donated like 6 pairs of shoes. I got all bags of clothes. We got furniture. And I think before too, the reason it's kind of almost like a hoarder's mindset. It's like, oh, I'll just list it on Marketplace and see like what kind of chump change I can get. I'm like, it's a waste of time. It's literally been sitting on there.
You got to take pictures of everything.
Yeah, you get these low ball offers from these dinguses on there, and just more added stress and anxiety having to deal with other people. So I'm just like, you know what? This is all just going to go to, this is essentially a form of my tithing. Like, I'm just going to get rid of all of this stuff. I'm going to release it. And then the most important thing, right? Because this is the same thing with vice removal, is that there's this replacement theory that we create, right? Like, okay, well, now that this void is gone, what am I going to fill it with? And I had to catch myself with that too. I'm like, oh, well, I just got rid of 6 pairs of shoes. What's 1 pair of new shoes that I don't even need?
That's
right?
That's like, oh, I just paid off my car. It's time to go get another one. Yeah. No, man, save your money. You don't have a car payment. Like, enjoy life without a car payment for a while. But yeah, take your stuff to the Goodwill, give it to your church, or whatever, whoever's accepting that type of stuff, whatever you're trying to give away. But yeah, man, that is a form of tithing.
Yeah, Running, etc. They'll take all kinds of shoes and they donate. They have a collab with a church.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, nice. And then then the clothes we bring to our personal church, because they have like a clothing drive.
I've got a ton of things that I need to get rid of. I was just thinking the other day that, man, I got to, because like spring cleaning. I like this time of year is a good time to kind of out with the old type mentality.
Yep.
So a bunch of clothes that I don't wear anymore. Like, why am I keeping these clothes? Why am I holding on to this stuff when I
Mm-hmm.
know I'm never going to wear this stuff again? Like,
Yeah.
I haven't worn this in over a year. Why am I holding on
Mm.
to it? It's like an attachment. It's like, but what if? What if what? Get rid of it.
Right. Yeah. That's so good, man. Yeah. So I'm starting to really lean into this like minimalist
Yeah.
operating standard. And it's really beneficial because I think that's going to open up doors for Kate and I to do more travel because we'll have more of the budget allocated towards that. And I don't need to feel guilty on whether I can afford to do it or not because I eliminated all of these distractions and gray area material things that I would just accumulate. And for what? I would wear them a couple of times or utilize them a couple of times and then done. And then they just collect dust or they kind
Yeah.
of sit in the back of the closet. One of the things, too, I saw this somewhere and it's great, but is basically flipping the hanger on clothes that you don't think you're going to wear anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And when you go through and like if a week goes by or something like that, or like a month, and you still haven't flipped the incorrect way, like you didn't put them back properly, then you get rid of them immediately.
That's a decent idea.
Yeah. So it's just to kind of like instill in your mind, like, hey, that hasn't moved at all. You haven't worn that.
Mhm.
Like, what are you going to do? Get rid of it or wear it?
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
And then I know you know this struggle because our bodies are constantly changing depending upon what our goals with our health and fitness are. Is like I have suits that don't fit me.
Mm-hmm.
Either they're too big or they're too tight, and I'm like, am I really holding on to this because I think I'm going to gain another 10 pounds or lose another 10 pounds, or do I just need to have like one suit for in this color for this occasion, and that's it, right? So you just whatever process you go through, I think it's a healthy way of understanding what you really truly need and what's a desire and a want.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all in how you choose to live your life. We're not telling you that you got to go get rid of all your stuff or anything like that, but there is so much benefit to it. So much benefit to, just reducing all of this clutter that I know so many people have. And as you were talking about, food.
Mm-hmm.
I was having a conversation with a buddy yesterday, and that's one of the things that I look forward to now is
Mm-hmm.
buying. This might sound funny, but buying meat. Like I will go drop some dough
Yeah,
on different types of meats.
I agree.
Good grass-fed steaks.
Premium cuts.
I got a whole. I'm going to cook this later on today, but a whole boneless leg of lamb. It's about 4 pounds, bro. And I've got
Lamb's
this.
delicious.
I've got this seasoning that I make that I'm going to put on it. Man, it's going to be so good. And that's the. I was like, dude, I look forward to the most ridiculous stuff now. Like I don't even look forward to going out in like different vacations and stuff like that. But I don't go out and out to eat anymore. I'd rather just go buy my own meat, drop some money on some meat, and bring it home and cook it myself. Man, it's just like simple stuff.
Yeah, I agree. And even with like restaurants, man, too, you got gratuity. It's very.
And then you don't know what seed oils they're using or how they're cooking your food and all of that stuff, man. It's just so much easier.
And the experience is heavily dependent on who you get as a waiter or waitress.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're not on their game, it's just some, freaking Gen A just collecting a paycheck. They don't know how to like cater to an evening, for you and your missus.
I could go out to a really nice restaurant, drop $200 plus $300 on a good meal, and not really knowing exactly what ingredient are in it. But I can go to the store, I can spend maybe $50 or less on a really, really, really good cut of meat. Not just for myself, but for my lady as well. Come home and I can cook that, and that meal will cost me less than $100.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for both of you.
For both of us.
And you control the temperature, you control the ingredients, you control the environment.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to commute or drive. You don't have to go through all the niceties of them either trying to impress you or reconcile something they screwed up. Yeah, it's
And
it's a
you
good
got to look at it
point.
like this too. Are you teaching yourself how to do things like this?
Mm-hmm.
Like, are you learning? Like, I learned at a very young age, like watching my dad grill, watching my mom cook in the kitchen.
Same.
Just learning how to take care of myself, right? And not having to rely on somebody else. Pamela cooks; she does an amazing job. But when it comes to like meats and steaks and stuff like that, that's I'm handling
Yeah,
that.
100%.
I'm gonna handle it. You enjoy yourself over there. I'll bring you your food. Enjoy, and I enjoy that. Some people might have an issue with that. Oh, these red pill douches these days talking about, oh, your woman should be cooking for you. Man, I enjoy cooking. I
Mm-hmm.
enjoy that type of stuff.
Yeah, it's not that black and white.
No, not at all.
Hell, I still do the dishes. We had our dishwasher out for like 2 or 3 weeks. We had to get the line snaked because there was a bunch of buildup, I think, from food from the disposal and stuff like that. So I was hand washing dishes for a while, help Kate out. She takes care of the laundry and stuff like that. And Lord knows there's a lot of laundry between the two of us and all the athletic stuff we do. But
Geez, if I could just get past freaking after washing them, now I gotta fold them.
oh, I know it, man. It's always there's like I 100% like when I get to a certain level of wealth, that is one of the things I'm having done for me.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't care how much the service costs.
Hmm.
This dude, speaking of services to kind of make people's lives convenience, this absolutely blew my mind the other day. So I have a buddy who was a member of the gym, and he's my go-to handyman.
Mm.
And stuff that's like super technical that, I could YouTube figure it out. It's going to take me a couple of hours, maybe a couple of days to get done. So I'm like, hit him up. He's completely selling his handyman business, which was doing well, big client list, handling all this stuff. He now full-time picks up dog poop.
Stop.
I swear to God, dude. So get this. It sounds crazy, right?
Like people hire him to come to their house to clean up the dog poop.
Listen to this.
I have to. I'm going to listen, but I have to understand, how do you get into that?
I know. So what he basically told me was, he was like, you know what? I'm good at this. This is my MO, but there's got to be another like lucrative business idea out there. And he's down a YouTube rabbit hole, and there's these guys talking about how they're scaling these dog poop picking up businesses to millions of dollars in like 2 years.
What?
Yeah. And so he's like, okay, bet. So he looks up on the different avenues and channels if there's any competition. There's like one person doing it in all of Hampton Roads. So he said, okay, say less. I'm going to control this market. And it's just him right now, but he has enough money to hire people at $20 an hour to pick up poop. And he said he just does it on a subscription. So he does a monthly reoccurring cost to the client, and he comes out so many times a month and picks it up. And that's it. It's
genius.
Out of sight, out of mind. Now, if you think about it, if you get, I don't know how many houses, even if you're doing a commercial job, like let's say he walked into an apartment complex, hey, we'll pick up all your dog poop, here's our fee. You can be making just from one account several grand a month.
Dude,
and
apartment complexes would be like, that's a moneymaker right there.
And it's only as good as like your creativity as far as like where, and like he reached out to the city of Virginia Beach and was like, hey, I can help here, a third party contractor. Your people aren't doing a good enough job, and send them pictures. And there's no overhead. There's zero overhead. You need like a little shovel and baggies.
That's it.
And he's like, and this dude, I literally burst out laughing when he said this. It's so big in America now, like it's catching steam, that they have a dog like poop picker upper Comic-Con. Like a
convention.
A convention.
Dog shit picking up convention.
Yeah, dead serious. And he's like, yeah,
That's
I'm going.
gnarly.
Dude, it's wild. But what got me thinking when having this conversation, other than it's just super funny and like out there and like who comes up with this stuff, right? Is people are willing to pay anything at the expense of their laziness.
Yeah.
Anything. And it goes to show, it ties right back to the focus on the financials is like, and Chris and I could be millionaires tomorrow if we really wanted to. We could look up any number of business ideas that placates to people's sloth, their laziness, their gluttony, their addictions to vices. But that's not the point, right? Like the real impact, I believe truly, like the impact on people's lives to be better stewards and leaders in their lives and in everybody else around them, is zero cost. I mean, you think about the amazing opportunity we had just last week where we didn't have like the greatest attendance just because people's schedules crossed, and we had one of our guys, just one, and we had that 2-on-1 opportunity to foster and mentor him, and how much impact that one moment has, where there's no membership cost, there's no expectations, and he can just come as he is. He can be fully transparent about what he's going through and what we need to have focused on. And then he ended up, this 20-something-year-old ended up pouring into me, giving me advice on something that I needed to hear.
Yeah.
Where are you going to get those opportunities if you're focusing on just getting a quick buck and another dollar from an individual? If we just look at people as dollar signs, then we've got it all wrong. That's just truly my perception, my opinion.
And at the same time, be willing to, no matter who is speaking, be willing to drop the ego, because you never know what you might learn.
Yeah, that's huge, man.
And that's in life, with the distractions, with thinking that you know everything. Like you miss so much. And I've been guilty of that too.
Yeah, because it's something that we have to catch ourselves on, because as we continue to grow and our knowledge set and our understanding and our consciousness, everything elevates. And we think we're above everybody else now. And we have to continue to check ourselves, even with our own selves. I've talked about this where I'll look back at myself just 2 years ago and I'm like, wow, I was an idiot.
Yeah, that continual growth is so important too. And I just want to touch on something real quick, because as you said that, it brought up a case that I had yesterday. And it was a dispute between a husband and a wife, or between a wife and her husband. She wanted to leave, and they've been going through some things for probably about 15 years. And one of the things that she said was, as you through a marriage, you're supposed to get better, supposed to grow together. And I said, yeah, absolutely, you should. You want him at his best, he wants you at your best. But apparently he wasn't, following through with any of that. And drug use, addicted to cocaine, that kind of stuff. And one of his excuses is, you're supposed to, this is what she's saying that he said to her, you're supposed to love me no matter what. This is how you met me. And I looked at her and I said, the problem is that you never had that boundary in the beginning. You just accepted it. And that's the challenge with a lot of relationships. You accept things in the beginning thinking that that person is going to change, or that person is going to work on themselves. You made the decision to work on yourself. You didn't set the boundary in the beginning that this is not something that you're going to tolerate, but you married that person anyways. And there's a lot going on there. And yes, did I feel bad for this woman? Yeah, absolutely. But ultimately, you accepted that. And now here you are 15 years later, probably going to divorce, rip the kids away and all of that, because that's ultimately, I guarantee, what's going to happen. Because you didn't initially set that boundary. You allowed it to take place.
Yeah.
You had kids with this man, knowing that this is not the type of man that you want to stay with, knowing this is not the type of man whose these actions you accept, but you think that he's going to change. Where's the line? That's the problem with so many relationships, is you don't set the standard. You don't have the boundaries in the beginning. You are tolerating this behavior, this piss poor behavior. And then you get 10 years into 3 years into the relationship, and you can't do it anymore. Well, you're the one who made the decision to get into that relationship in the beginning when that person was who they were and you knew who they were and you didn't have the boundaries then.
Yeah. Yeah, as soon as you accept that low standard, then you're encouraging that person to live that out without improvement.
Exactly.
And marrying that is wild work, because that's the whole point of a relationship is it's like church. You can come as you are, but you can't stay as you are. So the whole point and intention is, if you're going to be with me, you need to elevate your standard as well, as I am elevating my standard to be better, not just for me, but for you as well. And if you don't see that, then why would you take things to the permanent lifetime level of marriage with an individual? Usually that's, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but when we've been in those situations before, we cut it off. We didn't say, "Oh, I'm going to propose to you," you know. And I think it all culminates and goes back to what we talked about in the beginning with, idolatry. Is we don't identify what those things are in a person or in ourselves that we idolize, and we just continue to gloss over with a narrative that we're telling ourselves is acceptable, and it's not. It's truly not. And then when it evolves into this big scary, this elephant in the room, it's no different than, we see it all the time where the wife is miserable and it's a death by 1,000 cuts of the husband not delivering on his promises thousands of micro times over that marriage. And then he wakes up one day going, "This is out of nowhere. Where did this come from?"
It's not out of nowhere. It's been happening for years.
Bro, you need to open up your eyes. And obviously it gets to that point. It's far too late. It's far too gone. The only reason why that person's still there is because they thought change would happen. But it's not completely their fault, because as a man, you need to take ownership of your crap.
Yeah. Everything begins and ends with the man.
100%.
Right?
Yeah, that's unfortunate to hear that situation, man.
Yeah, but it's across the board. There's so many situations that are so similar, Might not be cocaine, maybe it's alcohol.
Yeah.
You're dating somebody with a drinking problem. Look 5 years into the future and that person doesn't remove that vice from their life. Imagine yourself with that person 5 years from now. How do you think things are going to be? Like,
Yeah.
are you going to tolerate it? Are you going to be willing to still invest in that relationship? Ask yourself these questions, right? Raise your damn standards. And that's the problem, man. Nobody has any standards anymore for themselves. They just they tolerate. You get out of life what you're willing to tolerate. If you're willing to tolerate that, guess what? That's what you're going to get.
100%. Yeah, and even think about it from a friendship perspective. If that person doesn't even respect themselves, what's telling you that they're going to respect you?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And they're not. If they partake in those things enough to poison themselves, to drown themselves in a low consciousness behavior, then they're probably going to give you a watered down version of that as well.
Yeah.
Right? Just like we talked about with social media, you're going to get a different perception, a persona to keep the peace and to keep the relationship going, and just gloss over it, kind of push that dirt under the rug, right? The rug is going to be there, but you're going to start noticing those lumps and clumps of the dust and dirt underneath. And then before it's too late, you're going to slip and fall on your butt. It's going to be dirt all over you because it was all under the carpet all along.
Yeah, if people really started to take that seriously about the boundaries, the standards, and making sure that they're doing whatever they can to work on themselves to be at their best, there'd be a lot more quality relationships, but at the same time, a lot less relationships.
It changes everything.
Yeah.
It changes the conversations had. It changes the relationships we seek moving forward.
Yeah.
It changes how we operate, because we know, being in a brotherhood of other men who that's all they want. They just want that growth, that continuous improvement. They want to be the best version of themselves. It is contagious in the best way. It's like a virus.
Yeah.
And it affects every single person in that brotherhood to be better. I saw Chris crushing himself in the gym the other day, and I know that my workout was half-assed. I need to go in and execute this evening, same day, because that was unacceptable earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Or, man, I noticed Eric was tracking all his food. He was dialed in with all his stuff, and he did intermittent fasting. I need to get my diet in order. I don't know why I keep kicking this can down the road. If he's elevating his standard, I need to too, so that I can be a good friend to him when he needs that advice as well.
Yeah, and not only the gym, man, but also your faith too.
Mm-hmm.
Like how you're living your life and the people that you attract into the gym and into your Bible study and all of that. I mean, you got a lot of people that really look up to you because of that, and that's to be noted, man.
Yeah, thank you for that, man.
Yeah.
And I think that is what is helping me to detach from the financials.
Mm-hmm.
Because as long as that's growing, as long as people are growing their faith and their spiritual foundation, that's all that matters to me. And because I know where I was without it. I know where I was when I was actively dissociating myself from God, and it was tied to all the vices. But even when we remove the vices, there's still stuff that we're doing that we don't realize is detaching ourselves from Him.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I got really deep in the Word, and it continues. It's why they call it the living Word, because it just continues to reveal stuff to you in your present moment, in your present life, of what you're doing right and wrong. And it challenges me, because as I grow, and like we've talked about, as I see myself at a new standard and a new part of my journey, I begin to be less judgmental, because I realize what it took to get out of the place I was in that is similar to the person who I'm talking to now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really appreciate that, man. And it's super cool to see. I think I posted on the story the other day, I'm looking to do another opportunity to do another study, because I know you definitely would want to go to some. There's some other people that just their weekday nights are slammed, and it doesn't make sense. And changing up the venue too. I'm going to reach out to the coffee shop next door and see if we can do something after hours and have a little bit more of an intimate setting for not just the Bible study, but for the tribe and stuff like that too.
Cool.
So, yeah, man, all good things. All good things.
Yeah. Yeah. Good talk today, man.
Yeah.
Enjoyed it.
Yeah, same here. So guys, with this episode and every episode that you guys listen to, we do this completely free. Chris and I have funded this thousands of dollars legitimately in equipment, in marketing, in understanding the nuances and the technical stuff to get this to where it is. You guys remember episode 1, we were literally boys to men, like talking two dudes into one microphone. We're in my spare bedroom in my house. Like, we didn't have any video. We've come a long way.
Crazy.
And we're going to continue to improve, just like we do in our own personal lives. So we just humbly ask that you guys do 3 major things. You guys subscribe and comment on our YouTube videos. That really drives the SEO and gets us on the map. Because for a while, we were so new that unless you went through the direct link, you couldn't look up According to Men. Okay?
Invisible.
So we really need your help in that regard. Number 2 is share the hell out of our reels and our content on social media. Okay. Even if it's just one little snippet that you resonate with, that's absolutely huge. And then reviews and questions. Guys, we read every single review. We read the questions, and we'll even answer the questions on the show. If you put a lot of thought and intentionality into your question, it may turn into a full-length episode. Okay. At the very least, an Iron Mind perspective. And we'd love to be able to help you guys on individual stuff that you're going through in your lives. So please, please subscribe, share the show, comment, and ask questions. As always, guys, we appreciate you listening. We appreciate you sharing the show and all the support you've given us. 65 episodes in, and we'll see you on the next one.
Peace.